video cameras. Slightly strong.
Okay, we're all live now to chat.
Okay, good evening and welcome to this Personnel Committee on the 13th of October 2020. I'm just going to run through a few notes. So if you can remember, please, members of the public viewing the meeting via the live stream can only see the person who is speaking. And also that it takes a second or two for Zoom to switch between the different views. So when you are speaking, if you can just pause for a fraction of a second before launching into any points you wish to make, and that way, hopefully everyone can pick those up. So what I'm going to ask is that we're going to run through the proceedings to start off with to make sure that everyone can actually see and hear. But also I'd like to for you to note that this virtual meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and the recording will be made available on the Council's website following the meeting. Under the openness of local government bodies regulations, people may film or record this meeting, and this is outside of the Council's control. However, people wishing to film or record the meeting should do so in a way that does not disrupt the business of the meeting, which obviously being virtual, hopefully is reasonably straightforward. Also at the meeting, so that it isn't disturbed, can I make sure that everyone's got their phones off, that you haven't got any devices such as Alexa, etc., that can listen to the meeting and maybe interrupt, and that way hopefully we can concentrate on the meeting itself. It will run slightly differently as a meeting. There will be more roll call votes and agreements, so apologies if that slows things down, but hopefully as we go through it will become quite clear how we're actually running the meeting and to make sure that it's good and transparent. You will have to raise your hand electronically rather than physically if you wish to participate in any section of this meeting. Hopefully by now all of you know where the little hand is, and I will make sure that I have the participants list open so that I can actually see who would like to make any points. So first off, as I mentioned before, I'm going to confirm who's actually present in this meeting. So I need to go through the list and ask you all to verbally confirm that you can see and hear. So I'm going to start off with Councillor Barclay.
Good evening, Chair. I can see and hear.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Baldwin. I think you're on mute, Councillor.
Yeah, no, I was clicking the wrong unmute button. I can see and hear the meeting.
I'm sure that's a £5 fine. Councillor Brennan. Good evening.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
Evening, Chair. I can see and hear the meeting.
Excellent. Councillor Ranson, welcome.
Good evening, Chair. I can hear and see the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And finally, Councillor Shepherd.
Good evening. Sorry for the delay. I couldn't unmute until the host said, please unmute, and I duly could. So, hey. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Yes, I can see and hear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I didn't see your lips read, so you don't get fined £5. Don't worry. Okay. So thank you very much to the committee members. Now, we also have a fair number of officers present, so I'm going to ask each of those in turn also to confirm that they can see and hear the proceedings. So I'm going to start off with Simon Jackson, who's our Strategic Director of Corporate Affairs.
Thank you, Chair. I can see and hear the meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Adrian Ward, our Head of Strategic Support.
Thank you, Chair. I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you very much. Anna Cairns, Charnwood's HR Manager.
Hello, I can see and hear the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Sally, now Sally, I do apologise. Can you please help me with your surname? If you say it once, I can guarantee I will muck it up for the rest of the meeting. But have a go. So Sally.
It's Sally Dobrovolska, and yes, I can see and hear the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apologies. My ability on anything other than very, very short words is extraordinarily bad. It is notorious. Apologies. Matt Gudger, can you confirm as well?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. I can both see and hear proceedings.
Thank you very much. Laura, are you there? There you are, Laura.
I am, Chair. Thank you. I can see and hear proceedings.
Thank you very much. And then finally, Nikki, I can see you in the top left-hand corner.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can see and hear proceedings.
Thank you very much. All right, that's everyone. So we're on to the main meat of the meeting now. Item 1 is apologies. We have Councillor Lowe who has apologised. Councillor Ranson is substituting. So thank you very much again, Councillor Ranson, for stepping in. We're on to item 2 now, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. Believe it or not, those were from 17th of December 2019. Feels like a lot longer ago, but it was just before the new year. So I wasn't actually present at that meeting. So Councillor Baldwin, I think you actually chaired it for me. Thank you very much for that. But can I ask for the rest of those who were present, whether you were happy with the meetings and content with the content? So I'm going to go through the list again. So Councillor Barclay.
I'm happy to confirm the minutes of the last meeting without alteration, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I confirm that I'm happy with the minutes.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
I wasn't at that time a member of this committee, so.
Okay, you have a good excuse. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
I can just about remember the meeting, leader, and you can confirm the minutes.
Councillor Ransom, I don't think you were at the meeting either.
Yes, I was actually. I was standing
you?
in again. Yes, if you notice it on, yeah, I actually can confirm that the minutes are correct. And as like Councillor Poland said, it's been a long time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And finally,
Stand in.
Well done. Councillor Shepherd. No, that's definitely a £5 fine, Councillor Shepherd. I can hear you now. Are you happy with the minutes?
I wasn't at the meeting, Chairman. Like you, I'm give my apologies.
Okay.
And I'm still perplexed as to what I'm doing wrong, because I'm now pressing a button called unmute and it refused to unmute me. So, hey, help.
Okay. By the end of the meeting, you'll be fine. I promise you. Okay, well, look, from all of those present at the meeting, everyone's happy, so we'll have those minutes as approved. So we'll now move on to item 3, which disclosures of pecuniary and personal interests. I haven't had any reports of any disclosures. I'm checking with our Democratic Services officers whether there's anything come through. Likewise, if anyone could raise a hand, electronic hand, if there is anything that they need to raise. I haven't seen any hands up, so in which case there are no disclosures. Item 4, questions under other committee procedures 12.8. No questions have been submitted, so we're now on to item 5. Now, as all of you have observed, this is a very, very full agenda. Obviously, we haven't met for a significant period of time. So all committee members I know will have read through the papers. So by all means, for officers, please accept that your papers have been read. But by all means, I'll ask you to do a very short 30-second summary or whatever of the paper as it comes through before we ask questions of it. So item 5 is the JNCC appointments of councillors 2020-2021. Simon Jackson. I think this paper is asking predominantly just for
yes, it is.
four names.
Apologies, Leader. Yes, indeed. This is a regular report. So every year we need to appoint members to the JNCC. A politically balanced appointments would be 3 Conservatives and 1 Labour councillor.
Okay.
But that's not a requirement. So basically, it's to
Indeed.
to appointments to JNCC, and I believe that's
and the JNCC doesn't always meet, so this is effectively a backstop
no,
committee.
I believe it's been covered in the training, but if you want any more details.
So last year we had myself, Councillor Barclay, and Councillor Shepherd, and I think we also had Councillor Ward representing the Labour group. I'm more than happy for myself, Councillor Barclay, and Councillor Shepherd to be put forward. I think it was was it Councillor Poland? I think it was possibly Councillor Poland, wasn't it?
I think I was on it, but again, it's years since
I was going to say we have another committee coming up. So I'm sure Councillor Shepherd can step in for that one as well. So if we could go with maybe Councillor Morgan, Councillor Barclay, and Councillor Poland from the Conservative side, and Councillor Brennan or Baldwin, would you like to nominate one of yourselves?
I would like to nominate Councillor Baldwin.
Oh, very good.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's great. So is the committee happy with that? I will now go through a roll call. So I'm happy with that. Councillor Barclay, are you happy with that?
Very happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Baldwin, are you happy with that?
I am, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy.
Okay, Councillor Poland.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Councillor Ransom.
I'm happy with that, Chair.
Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, and from Democratic Services Officer viewpoint, are you happy with that as well?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item 6, which is appointment to panels 2020 to 2021. This is a similar sort of paper, but this time requires 5 nominations. Is that correct, Simon?
That's correct. Thank you, Chair.
So this is 4 from the Conservatives, 1 from Labour. So perhaps maybe I could suggest, in view of Councillor Ransom only subbing for tonight rather than being a full-time member of this committee, that otherwise from the Conservative side, if I could nominate myself, Councillor Barclay, Councillor Poland, and Councillor Shepherd, are the 4 of you or the 3 others are happy with that?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay, and then from the Labour side, would you like to nominate 1 Labour councillor?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Brennan.
Excellent. That's very fair. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, if we can run through and verbally agree. So again, Councillor Barclay, are you happy with that? I saw your lips move, Councillor Barclay. No, your microphone keeps on cutting out. Have another go.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, we got it that
Very
time.
happy.
Well done. Thank you very
I'm
much.
generally very happy.
I can see your lips move saying you were happy. Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Barclay. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy with that, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Brennan.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Poland.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Ransom.
I'm happy with that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, I am as well, Chair.
Thank you very much. In that case, that's approved as well. Thank you. So we're now on to item 7, which is the gender pay gap information. So Sally, this is a paper that you've put together, and I have read through it. I understand precisely where we are. Obviously, Charnwood, predominantly because of some of the services being opted out, has a slightly skewed gender pay gap, I think, that reflects some of that. But also you cover many of the other points in the paper. Are there any particular points that you wish to pick out before we actually ask you any questions?
I mean, I was really just going to summarise and say that the data shows that 12.6% is the figure used, that females are paid less than males. And as you've just sort of explained, we've looked at the reasons for that, and it's things such as part-time and casual working. We have significantly more females in the lower quartiles. They're often in occupations that attract a lower salary level. We've also found wider enhancements can impact. So, for example, our repairs staff, we pay standby payments, and that can move those groups of employees from the lower quartiles to the upper quartiles. So that also impacts the figures, as does essential car user allowance. So just to summarise, things like part-time working, occupational choices, very high and low salaries, and enhancements and allowances can impact on our gender pay. Overall, we found that there's no difference in pay that people receive for the work that they do. So it's the same pay for the same or equivalent work. Probably just a final point that wasn't in the paper is that the Equalities Group produced an action plan on this. So they've got a set of objectives that we're looking at and going to continue looking at, and hopefully they will help us to work towards closing that gender pay gap. So it's things such as mixed gender selection panels, appointing diversity managers, developing agile working practices further. So they're really the key areas, in addition to the papers that you will have already read.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That was a very, very good summary in less than a minute. Thank you very much. Okay, now, if you can raise your electronic hand if you wish to raise any questions with Sally, that would be good. Okay, Councillor Brennan, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I've just got a couple of questions. I mean, you know, there are always reasons that women get paid less than men. There is a slight worsening overall between the 2018 and 2019. So I just wanted to know why you think that is, but also when will we expect to see the 2020 figures? I understand that, you know, officers of time has been necessarily elsewhere, but I think that particularly in light of the pandemic and the additional burdens that that the lockdown placed on women, particularly around childcare, I think it's important that we see those as soon as possible.
Okay, so just in response to your first question, I think, I mean, it's a small difference, but I think there was more part-time female workers in the last pay report, and some of that was casual workers that are included in the data. So they have tended to be, the vast majority of those have been in those lower quartiles, and that does have an impact upon those figures. So I think that's what made that difference between 2018 and 2019. And in terms of your other question, it's a good point. We are looking at that at the moment, so we're just getting the data ready to analyse. We do schedule it each year to be done at this time, actually, so we work for it to go through the process at this time. So it's on track to be ready in accordance with normal timescales. But obviously we recognise that will be interesting. It will link into other things that we're looking at and that are COVID related, such as agile working. So it'll be good to see the data that comes out and how we can link into the action plan again, and come up with more objectives or develop the objectives that we have further to help us improve that gap.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And yeah, I do think that it's really good that we do that, and it's important that the equality panel looks at how, you know, it's all very well saying, oh, well, there's more part-time workers, you know, why and what can the council do as an employer to make sure that women can access the higher paid jobs and aren't stuck in those lower quartile jobs.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think they need to look at that alongside the posts that are traditionally male dominated. We know that, and we've done some work in those areas, such as the repair staff that I mentioned. So we need to look at recruitment around that and having those open conversations with managers about recruitment. So that will also feed into the action plan.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Sally,
you.
can I ask a very quick question?
Mm-hmm.
I know obviously it's quite difficult sometimes to compare different authorities because different bits are sort of contracted in and out. Have we ever looked at, because I know Northwest, for instance, have their refuge teams in-house rather than out, and therefore they would count within their figures. Ours, because they work for Serco as a contractor, will not be included within our gender pay gap figures. Is there a sort of a datum that people nationally or even regionally can actually then use that is a truer comparison to other organizations within our sector, that actually allows for different contracting terms or different contracting arrangements that different authorities have? So in other words, we end up with a really good way of being able to measure ourselves against our peers.
You can access the data of all of the councils and you can see where their percentage figure lies. So we have originally, a couple of years ago, looked at the other councils to compare ourselves, and it was a mixed balance. Some were obviously better and some were worse than us. I think we were pretty much at the middle point. And we did at the time talk about the point that you've made. Is it because of some services they have that we don't have and vice versa? We haven't explored that further, so that's obviously a piece of work that we could look at, and that might tie in when we produce the next figures, to see where we're at and to see obviously how that compares to neighbouring authorities or more wider than that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, we don't have any more hands up, so Sally, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
There is a so I just bring up the individual paper. Right, we do have a recommendation, which is that the Personnel Committee notes the gender pay gap report. The publication of this report, that's an interesting point. So obviously we didn't meet earlier this year, so the publication before the 31st of March, so that has been effectively suspended because of the pandemic.
We did publish ours anyway, so we
right,
had
but
the
not
option to.
nationally.
We published our data.
Okay, good. Okay, that's great. So I'm going to ask if everyone can, again through roll call, whether confirm that you're happy to note the report. So I start off with Councillor Barclay.
I'm happy to note the report, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to note the report, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to note the report.
Thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
I'm happy to note the report, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Ranson.
I'm happy to note the report, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, happy to note the report, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's everyone. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we're now on to item 8, and thank you very much, Sally, for that. Item 8, which is the trans equality policy. Likewise, Sally, if you could, if there are any additional points that you wish to add about the policy itself before we start any questions.
Okay, thank you. So the trans equality policy outlines our commitment to trans employees in all aspects of recruitment and employment. So again, you've read the paper, so you can see the detailed information, so I won't go through that. Probably just by way of background to add, again, the Equalities Group were included in the development of this policy, so they were able to make some helpful and positive suggestions towards it. Also going through the process with Jumptum, the trade unions were also very supportive of this policy, and they also added some suggested wording and helpful comments. So it's been through quite a good process and developed, and hopefully everybody involved is happy with the final version of the trans equality policy.
Okay, thank you very much. It was good to see. Are there any questions that anyone wishes to ask about the policy? Councillor Brennan. I think you're on mute at the moment, Councillor.
I'm in a meeting, darling. No, don't. I'm sorry, my son just walked in.
No, don't worry.
Yes, I've just got a question. Page 33 of the agenda, page 4 of the report, the second paragraph, attendance at appointments and time needed for treatment and surgery. It says that time off will be granted in line with the council's leave arrangements policy. Now, I wasn't able to check what that actually meant because the link in there took me to county council and I had to log in, wasn't able to. So my apologies that I don't know, but I just wanted to check that this bit of the policy agrees with the ACAS guidance, which I think implies that it would be medical leave, which usually known as sick leave, because. So is that the case?
It's largely the case. So the leave arrangements policy outlines planned and unplanned leave. So if it's planned medical appointment, it would be the time given for that medical appointment. Some of it will be around what the actual situation is, and we'd have to review case by case. If it's sickness related, we'd look at that under medical appointments. But yeah, it links into how we would give the time back, usually for a planned appointment. So it would be the normal medical sort of hospital type treatment.
That's good to hear, because yeah, it does say in the ACAS guidance that it's discriminatory to treat an employee who's absent from work to undergo gender reassignment worse than someone who's absent from work for another reason. So
Yeah.
I would just assume that all aspects of the gender reassignment would come under medical appointments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor. Thank you, Sally. We haven't got any other blue hands up. So I'm going to move to the recommendation, which is that the proposal is that the trans equality policy be agreed by the Personnel Committee. So I'm happy to do so. Councillor Barclay.
Yes, I'm happy to agree the policy.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to agree the policy, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to agree the policy.
Thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
Thank you, Chair. Very happy to agree.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy, Chair, to agree to the policy.
Thank you very much. And finally, Councillor Shepherd.
Happy to agree, Chair.
Okay, that's great. Thank you again, Sally, for that. And that is agreed. So we now move on to item 9, which is the manager's guidance and toolkit on mental health and supporting employees. Likewise, Sally, if there's a brief summary, it was a good paper, so easy to read. But if there's any other bit that you wish to add, by all means do.
Okay, I mean, again, you've seen it's really just about trying to create a culture whereby we normalise conversations around mental health, and we provide the support and the toolkit for managers to support their employees in mental health related issues. Part of that you will have seen is we've appointed mental health first aiders and trained them. So they're there as a first point of contact and support for people. And they're also there to help signpost to relevant areas of support as and when needed. We're looking to sign up to the Mindful Employer Charter, which again, I'm sure you will have all seen. So that's further demonstrating our clear commitment to mental health issues. We know dealing with mental health can be very difficult for managers. So that's really the purpose behind reviewing this and pulling all these documents together. As an addition, we will be looking at including this aspect in future HR related training. So managers will be able to come along and we'll include that as part of that provision. And again, as previously, this was another set of items that the trade unions were very supportive of and of the proposed documents.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Sally, can I ask you one quick question before the Mindful Employer Charter?
Yes.
Effectively, are they, because I appreciate the fee they're charging is not a huge fee, but I'm hoping that they provide a sort of checklist of good practice for us to actually put to them so they can make sure that we're doing all the things that we should be doing.
We have to apply through that process, and they've got a set of values, and we have to demonstrate that our values meet those and our commitments. So there's a process we go through in order to sign up to that Mindful Employer Charter.
Good. Thank you.
And I think it's a well-established charter as far as our research has told us. So hopefully that will provide us with some useful sort of support and information that we can feed into as well.
Yeah. No, that's good. Likewise, I had a quick look at it and I thought it was yeah, it seemed to have been around for a reasonable length of time as well.
Yeah.
Councillor Barclay.
Yes, Chair, comment really. I'm really pleased to see this coming forward, an excellent policy, and I fully support it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have no further hands up. So in which case I'm going to go to the recommendation, which is the Personnel Committee agree the changes as outlined above, including the proposal to sign up as a mindful employer. So again, I'm going to ask everyone, I'm happy with this proposal. Councillor Barclay.
Yes, I'm happy with the proposal, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy with the proposal, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
Yes, I'm very happy with the proposal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Poland.
Happy to support the proposal, Chair.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy with the proposal, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, happy to support, Chair.
Thank you very much. That's everyone supporting. So thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for that, Sally, as well. So we now move on to item 10, which is the parental bereavement leave. So I'm going to ask Anna at this point if you wish to add anything to the report or a brief summary of any of the points that you wish to bring out before we ask you any questions.
Yes, thank you. The parental bereavement leave Pay Act was 2018 that actually gives parents the right to 2 weeks paid leave if a child under 18 dies, or a stillbirth after 24 weeks. Obviously, Charnwood are actually a very supportive employer anyway, and would have already done this as part of their compassionate and bereavement leave. But we're just formalising the policy so that we've evidence that this is being considered. But equally, I think we need to understand that if any employee would be in this situation, they would naturally get the 2 weeks, and then we would be working with them to what other time they needed off. So it's really just formalising this into our policy.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions that anyone wishes to raise? Councillor Poland.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say, really, Anna, thank you for that. I was surprised when I read it that we weren't doing that already. I thought this was something that would have been adopted decades ago, frankly. So I'm pleased to hear that we were doing this anyway, and that we do everything we can to support parents at what must be probably the most difficult time in any one parent's life. So I'm very happy to get this adopted formally into our documentation.
Yeah, as I say, nobody's lost out through this not being implemented sooner. You know, as I say, it's just formalising that process, but everybody would have had more time than this off anyway if required.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I have no other hands up, so I'm going to go to the recommendation, which is that the Personnel Committee agree the changes to the family leave and pay policy and leave arrangements policy as you've seen in the documentation. So I'm going to go through. I'm very happy with that. Councillor Barclay.
I'm happy to agree the changes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to agree the changes, Chair.
Councillor Brennan.
Happy to agree the changes.
Councillor Poland.
Happy to agree the changes, Chair.
Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy to agree the changes, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Shepherd.
Happy to agree the changes, Chair.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Anna, for presenting that. So we now move on to item 11, which is the travel subsistence and other allowances policy bicycle user. So I know this is the one policy that everyone was waiting for this evening. So Anna, if I can ask you, it's a really, I have to say, it's a very straightforward policy, but a bit like Councillor Poland's point last time. Sometimes you're almost surprised that some of the things aren't already there, even if they probably are already being there. I'm sure as councillors we've been allowed to actually claim bicycle policy or bicycle allowance for quite a while. So. But probably without any of the insurances in place. So this is probably a well-needed policy as a result. So Anna, can I ask you to do your 60 seconds?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think what you've just said sums it up really. I mean, that's always been something people potentially have been doing, but clearly we hadn't got the appropriate insurance or risk assessments in place, which have now been put in place. So employees can use bicycles for work-related journeys. And it's available to essential user and casual users of the council. Obviously not appropriate for all journeys because it may take the whole day to get there and back.
The trip down to Market Harbour would be a little bit probably too much, but yes.
Yeah, but that's with manager's discretion, obviously, and it's currently under a HMRC rate of 20 pence a mile is the payment.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Now that everyone knows it's 20 pence a mile, they'll all be doing it now. We don't have any questions. I think probably because everyone is enthusiastic about the taking up the bicycle policy now. So I'm going to go to the recommendation, which strange enough is bicycle related. So the recommendation is that the Personnel Committee agree the changes to the travel subsistence and other allowance policy and the introduction of a bicycle user declaration. So I'm more than happy to support that. Councillor Barclay.
I'm happy to support the changes.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to support the changes, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan.
Happy to support the changes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
Happy to support the changes, Chair.
Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy to support the changes, and I'm not coming in from Barrow on it.
Councillor Shepherd.
Happy to support the changes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now need to follow through and get on our bikes, even from Barrow. So thank you very much for that. Now we're on to item 12, which is the job evaluation procedure. Anna, likewise, if I can ask you to do your quick summary on that one.
Yes. As part of the SLA with county, originally a lot of the job evaluation work was carried out by a technical specialist within JE, who was part of the SLA, who helped us out. Unfortunately, she retired, so and the decision was made that that post wasn't going to be replaced. But obviously, we had to review how we were going to address the job evaluation for Charnwood. All the HR advisors are job evaluated, trained anyway. So we've actually just brought the whole process in-house. It's actually a much swifter process. We can deliver outcomes quicker, and we're just in full control of the process from start to end, really. So the policy's been updated and reviewed to reflect taking out some of the timescales that were originally involved, gives process improvements along with efficiencies. And we've just got full responsibility of it now. And actually, we've had positive feedback from managers that it actually works better. So it's just a reflection of those changes.
Okay, that's great. Sounds very, very positive. Are there any questions that anyone wishes to ask Anna? What she said? No. It was obviously extraordinarily clear. Thank you very much for that, Anna. So, oh no, we have Councillor Brennan. Your blue hand was a little bit late. It was followed by a pink hand. And you're on mute, Councillor. That's another £5.
I'm going to be broke by the end of this meeting. Yeah, just got a question about the time scales in the report. On page 210.
Okay, just bear with me.
Are you with me?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down. But yeah, if you go ahead, I can.
Yeah. It's actually in regard to the last bullet point before section 4. Well, the last two actually. I wonder, with the penultimate one, if you could just talk me through the rationale of changing it from 15 to 10 days. But I was a bit more surprised at the final one, halving the notice required for a job evaluation panel from 10 to 5 working days. Do you think that gives sufficient time if somebody wanted to seek, if an employee wanted to seek advice and potentially representation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've reduced the timescales simply because we do get complaints from the other side that it takes too long to get things addressed. So we've reduced those timescales down. But like in other instances, if they need to get advice from, say, a trade union or a colleague and they're not available, then as long as they let us know that, we would reflect that in the timescales and give longer. It wouldn't be a problem.
Thank you. Is that written into the policy?
It isn't into the policy, but we tend to do that with other things as well. We don't always hold it to 10 days or 15 days. But we could put a sentence in there to say if there's a problem, we can negotiate on that.
Exceptional clause.
Something like that, yeah.
I think that would be welcome.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
Understand that they have got time to seek advice if they need it.
Yeah, just to make you aware, this document did actually go to Jumtum in January of this year, and the trade unions have accepted and agreed that those changes are okay.
Thank you.
Okay, but yeah, we'll put a sentence into that effect.
That's really good. Thank you very much.
Councillor Baldwin, you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, it was a similar query, but on the second bullet point of reducing the appeals down from 20 to 7 working days. If I can confirm that 7 working days is not going to be written in stone, and that if something happens, it can be extended, would that be the case?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm happy with that.
Okay, with that understanding, in that case, we have a recommendation. No further hands up, so we have a recommendation, which is that the proposed job evaluation procedure as detailed in Part B of this report be agreed by the Personnel Committee, taking note of the 2 comments that have just been made. So I'm happy with that. Councillor Barclay.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Baldwin.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Councillor Brennan.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Poland.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
And Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. That's agreed. So we're now on to item 13, which is the guidance on job share arrangements. Anna, likewise, if you would like to do 30 or 60 seconds on this one, that would be great.
Sure. Obviously, we do have job share arrangements within current staff members. The current policy hadn't been updated since 2010, sorry. So it was obviously in need for review, but also we've made it much clearer, much more succinct in the approach, and hopefully much easier to understand for both managers and employees, because we did get quite a few queries from everybody around that. And it clearly defines the difference within you having 2 part-time employees and actually 2 employees who are job sharing a role, because it needs to be very clear that job share means they do all aspects of the job. Whereas 2 part-time people can have 2 totally separate roles, be it they work Monday, Tuesday, and somebody else works Thursday, Friday, for example. But as a job share, they need to understand that they're undertaking the full duties of the job. And also just to clarify that actually job share can be more than 2 people as well. So really this is just made the policy clearer, easier to understand, and brought it up to date.
That's £5 I need to spend as well. So Anna, can I ask you a quick question? How many people do we have at any one time, roughly, on job shares? Is this sort of widely taken up, or is it quite bespoke?
Some roles actually choose to use job shares because actually, say you've normally just got one post. If you do it as a job share, if that person's on holiday for 2 weeks, actually you're always going to have somebody in a few days a week. It's becoming more popular with people choosing to take flexible retirement, because obviously you've got half a post available. We've probably got 5 or 6, probably 7 within the council at the moment.
Thank you. That's quite interesting. There's probably a couple more than I probably thought would be, actually. So that's interesting. Are there any other questions that anyone wishes to ask Anna on this policy? Oh yes, pink hand, Councillor Brennan. I prefer the blue hands. Pink hand.
My apologies. So just coming back to, in the light of the discussion about the gender pay report, the gender pay gap, are you aware of any information about the average levels of pay of people who are job sharing, and is it more than people who do take a part-time role on their own?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, because obviously I just said people who choose to flexibly retire can do that at any grade. So if that's then filled as a job share, then, you know, it would be at a higher grade. You know, I know we've got some enforcement officers, you know, and they're not your lower graded posts, and they're in a job share situation.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
Thank you. I was just wondering, actually, on that, can you job share and then and have a part-time job within the same organisation? So, for instance, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a part-time job, then Thursday, Friday, you job share maybe with someone at a level higher than you to get the experience. Yes,
you could do that, because you'd be classed as having 2 positions with the council. Yeah.
Interesting. There's not going to be a job share for my position, by the way, just in case you're wondering, James. If that's what you were thinking about, I know what you were thinking.
I wouldn't have the time, leader.
Oh. Okay, well, look, thank you very much for that, Anna. We've run out of blue hands. So we do have a proposal or a recommendation, which is that the proposed guidance on job share arrangements be agreed by the Personnel Committee. So I'm happy to do so. So Councillor Barclay.
Yep, I'm happy to agree the proposal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to agree the proposal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brennan.
Happy to agree the proposal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Poland.
Happy to agree the proposal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Shepherd.
Happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
That's great. Thank you very much for that. So we're now on to item 14, which is the secondment policy and procedure. So again, Anna, if you could quickly do your 30 seconds on this one.
Sure. Again, it's an update on a policy. It's really, we've tried to streamline this secondment process because it could be quite lengthy and quite duplicated in parts. Hopefully the new process is easier to follow. It has added an extension of secondments because previously they were only in for 6 months, but we found the majority were always being asked to extend. So we've put the provision in to make them 12 months originally to save time for managers and the stress for the employee thinking, you know, within a few months I'm going to be ending this secondment, is it going to be extended? So hopefully that makes that easy to manage. And it's also been added in that a short-term vacancy, if we've got the specialised skill sets within the team or the authority, and it can now be ring-fenced as a development opportunity for that specific group of employees, with head of service approval to give them that development opportunity as a secondment.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions that anyone wishes to ask? I don't see any blue hands and I can't see any pink hands. No, so in which case I'm going to go to the recommendation, which is that the proposed secondment policy and procedure be agreed by the Personnel Committee. So I'm happy to do so. Councillor Barclay.
I'm happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Baldwin.
I'm happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan.
Happy to agree the proposal.
Councillor Poland.
I'm happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Councillor Ranson.
I'm very happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, happy to agree the proposal, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Okay, we're now on to the final item of this evening, which is item 15, which is the fixed term contracts guidance. And for the final time, Anna, if I can ask you to do your 30 seconds on this one.
Thank you. Fixed term contract guidance. Previously, it was quite a long, detailed policy with sometimes complex issues, and we felt it wasn't very clear for managers to follow and understand. So that's been significantly reduced down from sort of 12 to 5 pages, but it now focuses just on the key information that managers need to consider when using fixed term employees. But we've also produced a specific document which as HR staff we can then use to help support managers where needed regarding fixed term contracts. So they get the facts and then we deal with the detail with them, and just all the letters and the contract have been updated to reflect this, and hopefully again we've streamlined the process, made it easier for both employees and managers to understand and follow.
And I appreciate we sometimes have fixed term contracts that are related to funding for those.
Exactly, yeah.
That's predominantly where they come in, I suspect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Are there any questions that anyone wishes to ask Anna? No, I can't see any blue or pink hands. So thank you very much for that, Anna. So we do have a recommendation, which is that the proposed fixed term guidance agreed by the Personnel Committee. So for the final time, I'm going to do a roll call. So I'm happy with that. Councillor Barclay.
Happy to agree the recommendation, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baldwin.
Happy to agree the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to agree the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Poland.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to agree the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ranson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to agree the recommendations.
Thank you very much. And finally, Councillor Shepherd.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Happy to agree the recommendations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the officers present, to Sally and also to Anna for your very good introductions to each of those items. I appreciate we've had a fair amount of time to catch up on, a fair number of policies to bring forward for this evening, but great explanations and good papers, so very easy for us as councillors to understand and appreciate what we're making decisions about. Likewise, thank you to the other officers, to Nikki, to Laura, to Matt, to Simon, to Adrian for an attendance, and likewise to Margaret to observe us. So I'm going to wish you a good night, and we'll see everyone again on the 12th of January next year, and following that, the 30th of March.